The whip cracked across Lieutenant Cale Draven's back for the 7th time, and he refused to scream. Blood seeped through the torn fabric of his uniform, but his jaw remained locked, his eyes fixed on the red dust of the arena floor. Around him, the Vrakan crowd roared their approval, their scaled faces twisted in savage delight. The Vrakan were apex predators on 17 worlds. They had never known defeat until humanity arrived in their sector. Now they had their revenge, or so they thought. Again, hissed the warlord, his voice like grinding stone. The whip fell once more. Cale's vision blurred, but through the haze he saw them, the cubs. Dozens of young Vrakan, barely past their hatching season, arranged in neat rows to witness what their elders called a lesson in dominance. Their amber eyes watched with programmed hatred, trained from birth to see humans as prey, all except one. The smallest cub sat at the end of the front row, her scales still soft and pale, not yet hardened into the obsidian armor of adulthood. While the others snarled and snapped their jaws, she sat perfectly still, her vertical pupils fixed not on Cale's suffering, but on his face. The whip came down again. Cale's knees buckled, but he caught himself. 9 lashes. He could endure more, he had to. His crew was somewhere in this fortress, and as long as he drew breath, he would find a way to get them out. The smallest cub rose from her place. The warlord noticed immediately, his massive head swiveling toward her. The arena fell silent. Nira of the Emberfang, the warlord rumbled. You stand without permission. The cub Nira didn't retreat. Her voice was thin but clear. I wish to speak, warlord. A ripple of confusion passed through the crowd. Cubs did not speak during punishment ceremonies. They observed. They learned. They absorbed the lessons of power. The warlord's eyes narrowed. Then speak, hatchling, but choose your words carefully. Nira walked forward, her small claws clicking on the stone. She stopped 3 paces from Cale, studying him with an intensity that seemed far too ancient for her young frame. Count your family, she said quietly. Her words meant only for him. They'll all go next. Kyle's blood went cold. His head snapped up, meeting her gaze. In her amber eyes, he saw no cruelty, only a desperate warning. The warlord laughed, a sound like boulders colliding. The hatchling shows promise. Yes, human. Your crew will follow you to this arena. Each will receive 20 lashes. And you will watch. Kyle's mind raced. His team, Chen, Rodriguez, Yuki, Old Man Petrov, they couldn't survive 20 lashes. Rodriguez was already injured from the crash. Yuki had barely recovered from radiation exposure. This wasn't just torture. It was execution with extra steps. Unless, Nira continued, her voice still soft but now addressing the entire arena. The human proves himself according to our oldest law. The warlord's laughter died. What law does a hatchling invoke? The trial of fangs, Nira said. Combat without weapons. If he survives until the sun crosses the arena's edge, he and his pack go free. It is written in the first scrolls. Murmurs erupted throughout the crowd. The trial of fangs hadn't been invoked in generations. It was considered archaic, a relic from the Vrakan's primitive past before they conquered the stars. The warlord's tail lashed. You would give this prey thing a chance at freedom. I would give him a chance to prove what we are told humans are, Nira replied, and now there was steel in her young voice. Weak, fragile, inferior. She turned to face the crowd. If the human fails, it confirms our teachings. If he survives, which he cannot, then our law is honored and we lose nothing but a few hours of entertainment. The logic was sound, and the warlord knew it. To refuse would be to admit fear, that perhaps humans weren't as weak as Vrakan propaganda claimed. Very well, the warlord growled. Release him. Prepare the arena. His eyes fixed on Kyle with predatory hunger. I myself will face you, human. And when I tear you apart, the hatchling will learn a far more valuable lesson about the price of mercy. The chains fell away from Cale's wrists. He stumbled but caught himself, forcing his battered body upright. As the guards pushed him toward the arena's center, he passed close to Nira. Why? He whispered. Her response was barely audible. Because you didn't scream. Because you could have, and you didn't, and because... She hesitated. My nestmate is in your ship's medical bay. You could have left him in space. You didn't. Understanding crashed over Cale. 3 weeks ago, his crew had found a Vrakan escape pod damaged and drifting. Inside was a badly injured cub. Despite the war, despite everything, Kale had ordered his medical officer to treat the young Vraken. They'd stabilized him, placed him in stasis, and were searching for a way to return him when the Vraken patrol found them. The sun was high overhead. Kale had perhaps 2 hours to survive against a creature twice his size, with natural weapons that could shred steel. But as he took his position in the arena's center, as the warlord descended from his throne with deadly grace, Kale allowed himself a grim smile. The Vraken had evolved as ambush predators on high-gravity worlds. They were strong. They were fast, but humans? Humans evolved as pursuit predators. Humans didn't need to be the strongest or the fastest. Humans just needed to outlast. The warlord charged and Kale moved. Not away, that would be futile. He moved inside, using the warlord's momentum against him, forcing the larger creature to overextend. It was a dance humans had perfected over millions of years of hunting prey that was bigger, meaner, and better armed. In the stands, young Nira of the Emberfang watched with keen eyes, witnessing a lesson far different from the one her elders had planned. She was watching a human hunt,